don't even know where that came from. Anyways, so how is everybody doing today?
Good.
Great.
All right. Did you guys just finish another? What was the course you guys just did?
Wholesaling.
Yeah.
Wholesaling? Okay. What? So they get their wholesaling properties?
Yeah.
Like how to wholesale them, or the guy was a wholesaler?
Well, he's an agent and he wholesales.
Oh, okay.
Wholesales
So he must get
properties.
lists of property somewhere.
Well, there's different strategies you can go into, but he's talking about more the process of it, contractual, how to do it as a realtor, stuff, clauses, things like that.
Wow.
If you want to get in deep, you have to pay him $950.
Oh, you do? Okay, that's right. So to take the deep dive, you gotta pay up.
Got it.
Wow. Well, that's pretty wild. You know, there's so many different ways to make money in real estate, and everybody's got their own style, and everybody has their own, way of doing things. So there's many different paths to success, and it doesn't mean because you're doing one thing that's not right, or this one's the only way there. In fact, Johnny Walker in the back right here. Everybody say hi to Johnny.
Hey, Johnny.
Johnny has been kind enough to come along today on this presentation. Johnny's been in the business for a long time, just like I have, and we have two opposite styles. And so I felt, and Johnny felt, that it would be beneficial maybe for all you guys to hear, what I say, and then maybe have Johnny give you some of the stuff that he does. Because like I said, there's more than one path to success in real estate. And it really depends on your personality and your comfort levels and things like that. So you have to be comfortable in your own skin. And that's one of the big things about an open house, is being comfortable in your own skin so you can be confident around the people. Now, before I jump into everything, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my favorite subject, me. No, I'm just kidding. You guys just laugh at that point. Come on, you guys. Wake up. So, I've been selling real estate now for about 20 years. I started out at Century 21, and I was there for 10 years, and then I was at HomeSmart for 8 years, so that's 18, and then I've been here 1 year, so that's 19 years. So that's how long I've been in the business. I've sold, I don't know, somewhere around 900 and something houses over the years, and I've been very fortunate, to be one of the top guys in the valley, and I work really hard. It's funny because when I started in the business, I was, listing $150,000 houses, working 7 days a week, doing all this kind of stuff. And here I am, 19 years later, right? Listing $150,000 houses, working 7 days a week. I mean, what the hell is going on with that, right? But that's what you do. That's what you do. Now I do more expensive houses too. Obviously, I kind of do the gambit, and so if I can give you guys any advice, it's to not pigeonhole yourself in one specific market. You want to kind of do a lot of stuff. A lot of people come in and they go, I want to be a luxury agent. Okay, no money in luxury, guys, for the most part. You can spend a lot of money in luxury and hopefully get those homes sold, but maybe not make so much in luxury. So what you really want to do is go for that, sell to the masses, not to the classes, okay? Find those people that are, 250 to 500, and you can just bang through those all day long and make $300,000 in a year. Easy, okay? One of the important things, though, when you first get into the business and when you're trying to grow your business, is you don't want to spend too much money, right? Because you're 100% commission. So it's hard to write those checks. You got people that do like Zillow, for instance, and they'll buy fractional ownership in a Zillow zip code. Do you guys know what that is? Do you know how that works? Okay, what they do is Zillow sells zip codes, and they sell impressions. So when you go on to Zillow and you see a listing, you'll notice there's 4 or 5 agents to the right-hand side of that listing. Have you noticed that?
I have.
Have you noticed that? Okay, go on Zillow and check it out. In fact, you can sign on to Zillow right now and check it out. You'll see on each listing there is like 4 or 5 agents to the right of that listing. And those 4 or 5 people pay somewhere, depending upon the zip code, somewhere around $2,000 to $3,000 a month
It's our Wi-Fi password.
for impressions, ZILLOW.com. Okay? It's the largest real estate platform on the internet.
That's our Wi-Fi password.
Oh, the Wi-Fi password, I'm sorry. What is the Wi-Fi password? Can you guys read that from here?
It's not, it's on the.
Is that it right there?
It's the cooler,
Huh?
or on there.
Is that it right there? Oh, here it is, right here. There's the Wi-Fi password. So, so anyways, that gets really expensive after a while. And I mean, that's the cheap one is $2,000 a month, and that's just to get started. And then what happens is your name randomly appears, you know, it gets mixed up and it gets shuffled every time somebody clicks onto whatever listing is in that zip code, and you get the impressions, right? So, the other great thing about that is that when they call you, if you don't pick up your phone right away, then it goes to the next person. So you're a slave to your phone, you're spending all this money, and a lot of times those people aren't very qualified. So you guys can go and spend money like that. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can spend that kind of money, or you can do what I did, because when I got into real estate, it was soon after, you know, when I really got into it, was soon after 9/11. I had another job, had my real estate license, was kind of doing it part-time. When 9/11 happened, that job went away. So I had no money. We had just closed on our house, my wife and I. And that was it. No money coming in. So I couldn't go and spend a bunch of money. And so the only way I felt that, that I could get business was to do open houses. I thought that that would be a great platform for myself to go out and get new business. Not only from the standpoint of that it didn't cost that much, actually it didn't cost anything, right? For the most part. But what it also did for me was it was a great training source for me as a person. Okay, yeah, you see that? Now, if you click onto the listing again, if you get out and go back in, you'll see that those people are shuffled in different sources. Those people are paying about $2,000 to $3,000 a month to have that happen.
I'm screwing them over right now. I'm doing it.
That's right, and they're going to call you, maybe, maybe not. So I'm a real proponent of open houses, but open houses have to be done the right way. How many people here do them?
My home group, first guy,
Okay, you did. Okay, good. Yeah, see?
George Law.
There you go. There you go. George Laughlin. He's a pretty big guy. So, okay, so you guys all do it. Did everybody raise their hand? You didn't? You did?
No.
Okay. How often do you guys do them?
Every week.
Okay.
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 a week. Good. You?
Once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
I do about 4 a month.
Okay, good. So about once a week. How about you, young lady?
I just started doing them, but I want to start doing them consistently every weekend.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I slowed down a lot on them, and I just started doing them. Actually, I started 2 days ago, and now I got somebody interested in buying.
Fantastic. So you had somebody walk in.
Walk in.
Mm-hmm.
I must have changed my open house routines several times.
Sure.
I haven't mastered it yet. So.
No, there is no way to master it. You have to do your own style, okay? But all I can say is just keep doing them. I did them every weekend for the first 5 years when I got into real estate. Every weekend for the first 5 years. And I did them on weekends too when people didn't necessarily think would be a good weekend, like Super Bowl Sunday. People think, no, not on Super Bowl Sunday. I did them on Super Bowl Sunday. There's people that don't like, their team isn't in the Super Bowl, they're going. Thanksgiving weekend, oh, everybody's gonna be with their families. Well, guess what? There's a lot of people that are in town looking for houses. Yes, sir.
My very best, without question, open house day of the year is Black Friday. Without question, year after year after year after year, it's the very best day to hold an open house. Does anybody know why?
No.
So everybody that's from Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, New York, Cleveland, wherever, they go home for Christmas because it's supposed to have snow, and that's where Santa is, and that's where the family is. Guess where they go on Thanksgiving? They go to Grandma's house in Phoenix, and they're out playing golf thinking, why the hell do we live in Minnesota Minnesota. We're playing golf on Thanksgiving, and they can't go out and shop on Black Friday because you can't carry it back on the plane. It'll cost you more to carry it back on the plane than it would
To buy the
their
stuff.
savings.
Right.
So people are out looking, they're like, God, we should live here. It's a long-term proposal, okay? The people that you meet on Black Friday, I'm buying tomorrow. That's a marathon. Those are people you're gonna work on for a year or 2 years. Would you agree?
100%.
But Black Friday, without question.
I'll tell you my experience. I did open house this Black Friday, and normally I get good 8 to 10 families at least within 4-hour window. I got that day 0, totally 0. And this is a very good neighborhood. I've done consistently. I've received that many families, but none this time.
Okay,
This
so-
is a perfect reason, let me say, this is a perfect example of why you gotta do them all the time.
and
Because you just never know. One day you're gonna have a whole bunch, and then the next day it's like goose egg.
And prep. Prep
Right.
is important.
Right, and people will give up because they don't, they'll do 2 or 3 of them and then they quit. You know what I mean? Oh, this doesn't work. I think I'll try something else. A perfect example is a gentleman on my team, and by the way, just full disclosure, I do some coaching for different people. Okay, so Eddie is one of my coaching clients. And he's a younger guy, he's been in the business now for a year, and he was doing open houses, and he wasn't getting anything. And the reason is because he was learning, but he kept doing them. And there was a certain point where he was getting ready to give up, but he kept persevering, and he kept doing them. And starting last month, now he's been doing them about a year now, last month, he closed 4 deals. 4 deals last month, and he's got 2 deals right now in escrow. One of them was a person who actually walked into the open house, and it was a My Home Group listing. It was, the Valentine Group, you guys ever hear of them? It was one of their listings. They're a great one to sit, by the way, because he flips houses. And so he fixes them up and flips them, so they're usually staged and they're vacant, and they want people to sit their houses. So he's going to owe me for this because I'm saying this. So if you're watching, but so Eddie sat the house. The people came in, fell in love with the house, right? Bought the house, and then we went out and I helped Eddie, and we went and just picked up the listing. So between the sale of the house, it was a $500-something house. The listing is 6-something up in Cave Creek. So he's almost $1 million in real estate from sitting that open house, and he's going to get a check after the other one sells. Altogether, he's going to be about 30 grand between the 2 transactions from sitting in open house. Was that worth it? I think that was worth sitting that open house. Yeah. I've got story after story after story after story about that. You guys don't need to be sold on them because you guys are here. So you guys are already interested in them, and hopefully you see the value of them. I put together, you guys are going to be like my little guinea pigs, because I put together this little video real quick. They asked me to do this this class a couple weeks ago, and I thought, let me do a video and show people what I do, rather than talk about what I do. So here we go. You guys ready? Let's see how this goes. It's kind of funny. We threw it together, so here we go. Can you hear
Okay,
it?
so pulling up comps are super important. You're going to need them both for potential buyers that are coming in, and also people like nosy neighbors that are potential listings for you. So you're going to want to pull up all of the homes that
I don't think this was at the very beginning. Hold on, there we go.
Hi, my name is Neil Brooks with My Home Group, and I've been selling real estate for 20 years right here in Phoenix, Arizona. One of the main components that's made me successful is doing open houses. And today, I'm going to show you how to be successful yourself. Okay, so pulling up comps are super important. You're going to need them both for potential buyers that are coming in, and also for people like nosy neighbors that are potential listings for you. So you're going to want to pull up all of the homes that have sold in the...
Stop.
We were just getting off to such a great start, weren't we?
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that happens in real estate though, right? And you gotta be ready. Okay, so right there,
Want one?
yeah, go ahead.
You got one? You want one?
I got one over here, thanks. I think I'm good. Let's see here. Oh, this sucks, huh? I wonder if I should get out of it and get back into
Yeah,
it.
hit your backspace key,
Huh?
hit your backspace key.
Here.
You're showing our age. Here, you do it.
I know.
It's technology, here.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm not technology oriented at all.
I'm right up there.
Probably because it's on
Hey, so-
1080p too, so it's like super good quality.
Yeah.
Can I just throw one thing out while
Yes.
we're doing that?
Yes.
So Neil already lied to you guys. So I'm calling him out on it. And he's also one of my friends, so he knows I'm not really calling. When he said that we do completely different things for open house, we do, but we really don't. And I think the whole point is everybody's gonna have their own way of doing things and
Someone's gonna call me at some point.
and different things that they're gonna do that's gonna be successful in an open house that might
I guess
not
you'll
work
need this.
for other people, you know?
Let me get out of that.
Neil and I are both pretty
Okay.
outgoing when it comes to talking to people. Some people are a little more shy. I use a comedic approach in my open houses. I'm a little more direct with people in my open houses where that may not work. I'm from Chicago. I act like it, you know? It works for me, might not work for others. Neil has his own kind of deal. So he didn't really lie to you, but when he said that we do them completely different, maybe, but really it's all the same.
Yeah, everybody has their own style.
Just gotta get your own gig.
So I'm not sure if it's going to do its deal or.
Kelly, did you get in an MMA fight or something?
I'll tell you what happened.
We are recording, by the way.
Yeah.
Your knee is bending.
There's so many other things it could have been.
She had a puffy vein. Oh. We're recording.
It's gonna be on YouTube next week.
Oh my god.
So,
It was really gross.
Kelly, your hair looks fantastic today.
it does.
I will be right back.
Kelly, you're the best. We could never do anything around here without you. Oh, she's mad at me.
No, she's mad at me.
It's a Band-Aid, you wanna question that?
No, ma'am. No more questions
I'll
from
be
me.
right back for that.
Okay, so we were getting ready to launch into it. Okay, and what I want to do is I want you guys to ask me questions today. I want this to be, back and forth, so I'm not just standing up here and telling you guys what to do. But one of the most important things you have to do first is, and I'm going to kind of go out of order of the handout, is you want to prepare your open house at least a week prior to the open house. Okay, what happens with most people is they, like on Thursday, they'll say, well, I'm not doing anything this weekend. It's going to be nice weather. The game's not on. I think I'll do an open house. So the wrong way to do it. This has to be integrated into your business. It has to be the center of your business in order to be successful. So you're going to want to plan that thing out a week in advance. Okay? You're going to want to pull up a house that is vacant, hopefully, and staged. Okay?
But Neil, I don't have any of my own listings like that.
That's right, and that's a good question. If you don't have any of your own listings, then go pull another My Home Group listing. So I want you to start planning that open house a week in advance. So I want you to start planning that open house on a Monday. If you're going to be doing it that Friday or that next weekend, you're going to plan at least, at a minimum, that Monday is the latest you're going to want to start planning that open house. Okay? So the first step is to go through and do a map search. Do you guys know how to go into the MLS and search for My Home Group listings? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're going to search for the My Home Group listing, number 1, vacant, number 2. So just pull those up first. See how many it comes up with, right? And then you start ratcheting it back from there. So you're going to pull up the vacant My Home Group. Then you're going to want to look at the map, and you're going to want to pull one up that's in the $250,000 to $500,000 range. Okay, that's where most of the buyers are right now. 90% of the buyers are in that number right now. So why would you want to go sit $1 million listing in a gated community that's hard to get to, right? Because the house is pretty and you might get a huge commission check. Don't do that. You're shooting yourself in the foot by doing that, okay? So you've got those first parameters. Also, you're going to want one that's no more than 3 turns to get to the house, okay? So in order of prominence, you're going to want to take one that's a less expensive house that might not be as nice looking as some of the others if there's less turns, because the turns is what's really important, right? If you got a nicer house and it's 5 turns, take the one that's 3 turns, right? Take the 3-turn house. And if the house is vacant and it doesn't have furniture in it, and it's 3 turns, take it and bring yourself a little table and a chair so that you can work while you're there, okay? So that's how you find that open house, okay? Now, let me just see here. Is this going to be a little disjointed? Okay, where are we at here?
In the center.
Hi, my name is Neil Brooks
Let's
with
try
My
it.
Home Group, and I've been selling real estate for 20 years right here in Phoenix, Arizona. One of the main components that's made me successful is doing open houses. And today, I'm going to show you how to be successful yourself. Okay, so pulling up comps are super important. You're going to need them both for potential buyers that are coming in and also for people like nosy neighbors that are potential listings for you. So you're going to want to pull up all of the homes that have sold in the past 6 months within that neighborhood, and if you can't find enough, within a 1-mile radius of the neighborhood. You're also going to want to pull up the actives and the pendings. Now, this is a little bit on the marketing sneaky side, but you're also going to want to pull up homes that are currently for sale by owners in Zillow, limited service listings, okay, and also homes that have been active 90+ days.
Okay, now the reason I'm saying that, okay, because we kind of jumped around here a little bit. I was jumping into how you find the house first. You guys know how to find the right house now. Then you pull the comps, okay, that you're going to hand out to people when they come into your open house. Now the reason I said about, and you guys all know how to pull comps, so I don't need to do that, but I mean, I guess I can tell you briefly. You're going to want to pull homes that are active and then the solds. The active homes that you're going to pull, you want them to be in the same neighborhood, okay? And you want homes that are comparable. If you can't find them in the neighborhood, then you can cascade out and go a 1-mile radius of the property and find similar homes. Do you guys know how to do a map search on the MLS? Do you know how to do map search?
Of course.
Okay, well, you're new. You said you were new, right?
About a year and a half in.
Okay, some people don't know how to do the map search feature. It's a fantastic feature. So you can pull up homes that are within a 1-mile radius. You're going to pull up the actives, you're going to pull up the solds. The actives are going to be for the buyers that come in the door. The solds are going to be for the nosy neighbors that come in the door. And then you're going to want to make sure that if the solds make you look bad, that you're going to have to work those numbers a little bit, right? You're going to work those numbers. Now what I was saying here, in addition to pulling the comps, you're also going to pull in your neighborhood, and this is the part that's a little bit pushing the envelope, is you're going to pull up homes that have been on the market for 6 months, right? You're going to pull up for sale by owners from Zillow. Do you guys know how to do that? Do you know how to do that? You can go into Zillow and you can put buy my house and all this kind of stuff. And you're going to go and you're going to put a card, a personalized letter on every one of those houses, right? Inviting them to your open house. Now, if it's an active listing that's been sitting on the market for 6 months, they're maybe thinking of firing their agent. You know, they get this letter from you, they come down, their agent hasn't sat an open house for them because their agent said, oh, they're a big waste of time. Why would you want to do something like that? Nobody ever sells their house from an open house. It's only for the benefit of that agent, right? This person's house been sitting on the market. They see you working hard, and you even took the time to go and put a letter on their door to please invite them because they're a neighbor and you want to get feedback for your seller. Just make sure you put on the bottom of all that communication, this should not be considered a solicitation.
Very important.
Right, because you cannot solicitate, you can solicitate? You cannot solicitate
Or
their business.
Caesarize.
Yeah, you cannot solicit their business. Okay? So, and the for sale by owners, you can find them in Zillow by going into Zillow and looking for sale by owner. Okay? That's the low hanging fruit right there, because you got the person's phone number. Sometimes they put their email address in there and they say, yeah, I'm thinking of selling my house, right? Go for it. Make sure when you're doing that open house, you pull up all the ones that are close, even if it's a mile away, right? That Zillow for sale by owner, make sure you go and you put a handwritten card, right, on their deal. Now, I also would go walk the neighborhood on a Saturday and put out flyers to invite the neighbors to my open house. Nosy neighbors are one of the best ways to get listings. That's my first listing was a nosy neighbor. Okay? So, I always hear agents say, they go, oh, I was all nosy neighbors, what a waste of time. That's an agent that's not looking at the big picture right there.
How do you invite neighbors? Do you door knock or just leave the?
I leave it. You can get the door hanger thingies. You can have those printed up, and you can have lines. You know, you can have blank lines put on the back, so you can kind of hand fill it out. Say, please come to my open house. I'd love feedback. Whatever you want to put as the message on there, and then you can write on the back the address of the house, because you'll have lines in there. Yes, sir.
So this is where Neil and I differ big time. I don't door knock until after my open house.
Mm-hmm.
I go knock doors when I'm done. And I tell the neighbors, hey, just wanted to let you know we had like 8 to 12 people through. There's a lot of interest in this area. That house wasn't right for everybody. If by any chance you're interested in listing, your house might be the right one. I've got a list of 8 people that were there today that are interested in the area. Now that's the biggest difference between Neil's open house and my open house. I'm not there to get buyers. I do open houses to get listings.
Right.
Okay? I get buyers anyway because I've been doing it so long.
Right.
It's kind of natural. Buyers are almost like easy to get. And I'm not trying to brag.
Right.
When you've done it long enough, it's like, yeah, I can do an open house and get a buyer tomorrow. I guarantee you I can do it.
Yeah.
You could too.
Yeah.
It's listings that I'm after in my open houses.
And the thing is
so the conversation gets a little bit different.
Yeah, the more you do these, the smoother you get. And like Johnny said, you can go into an open house, and if your business is a little bit slow, you know, or things are getting a little bit, you know, you just go do an open house, and a guy like Johnny's going to pick up 2 or 3 buyers, just like that, because he sounds confident and he knows what he's talking about when they come in. He's not over pushy. You know, part of it is it's like speed dating. When they come in, you got to kind of get a feel for what kind of person they are, and you can't be overly this or overly, so you have to be super intuitive. You know, don't just be on cruise control. You know, you want to be really intense and pay attention to their body language and pay attention to what they're saying and if there's 2 people, how are they interacting with one another? You know, it gives you major clues as to the best way to communicate with them, because that's what it's all about, is communication.
I gotta push, so I'm gonna leave one other thing. At open houses, if you live by the 2 and 1 rule, you'll always do well. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Do twice as much listening as you do talking, because they'll tell you exactly what they want. They're gonna tell you their whole story. And then my newest little secret at open houses, the first thing I do when I do an open house is I find out where the closest animal hospital is. Why would I want to do that? People move, everybody has a pet nowadays. So I'll tell them, you know, I just checked it out, there's an animal hospital around. Well, all of a sudden, you're gonna perk interest, people are gonna, now you've connected with something they love. Toto or Fifi or Spot or whatever. You know, there's an animal hospital less than 5 minutes away, it's right over on Bell Road and 67th Street, so that's my new little one that's
It's
working
little
really
things
good.
like that that just make the difference, like the sizzle front on the steak, you know what I mean?
Little stuff. Sorry
John.
I eject Amanda, my boss just came in, I gotta.
Thanks,
My
man.
title rep is here, and I'm subservient to her.
See you later. Okay, Johnny's great. Okay.
I'll get back to you on that later. Okay, so we're in the car right now. We're still in the pre-planning stage of the open house. Our open house isn't going to be until Sunday, and today is actually Monday. What we're doing today is we're going to go drive the neighborhood. We're going to go look at some of the things in the area, like where the schools are, where the restaurants are, all of that important
Animal
stuff,
hospitals.
so that we really can become an expert on the neighborhood. So, one of the things that's super important is picking the right house. Now by that I mean a home that is maybe 2 or 3 turns off of a major freeway. You don't want to pick an open house just because it's really expensive or it's in a gated community. In fact, those could be some of the worst open houses. You want to pick one that's going to be, 3 turns, that's going to be somewhere between $350,000 to maybe $500,000, and one that's vacant, and preferably one that is staged. When people come into the open house, they really don't want to talk to you. And that's one of the things that most realtors don't understand when they get into business. And that's why they don't do the open houses, because they don't feel comfortable with that. You really have to pull stuff out of people. You really have to be a people person. And I'm going to show you some techniques when we get to the open house on just how to do that. Okay, I picked this house in McCormick Ranch because McCormick Ranch is right in the heart of Scottsdale, and there's lots and lots of traffic all around it. It's in the perfect price point. The home is vacant and staged, and it's ready to roll. I have to admit, that is a sad, sad little Christmas decoration on their sign. Okay, now we've made it to our open house destination, and what we're going to do before we go and set the signs out is we're going to go walk the house, make sure everything looks good, and then get the house set up for the people that are going to be arriving. So follow me. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to walk through and pick up things like this. You don't want these kind of throw rugs everywhere. You don't want people tripping. You don't want tripping hazards. By the way, Bree, watch the step there. We're going to go, we're going to turn all the lights on in the house, we're going to turn music on, and we're going to set up our food and beverage station.
Take notes.
Look at all those
Where the
rugs.
go.
Yeah.
This is Lollapalooza. It's crazy.
Gotta remember where they go, put them back though.
Yeah, I know. He was so
Okay,
pissed.
so now we picked all the rugs up, and I'm still going through the house, and I've seen stuff like this.
Not really.
You want to definitely get rid of the trash can, because it'll just take away from the kitchen, which is going to be one of the most important features of the house. Also, something to mention about the bathrooms. If you see like a lot of accoutrement in the bathrooms, for lack of a better term, like plungers and toilet brushes and all that kind of stuff, you want to get all of that out of the bathroom, because you want the bathroom to be comfortable, clean, and romantic. This is actually one of the dirty little secrets of an open house. You always want to get food that will last at least 7 months in the trunk of your car.
In the Arizona. Doesn't know.
Okay, so this is a basic setup that you're going to want to do every single time you do an open house. One of the most key, critical features is having this sign right here. The biggest objection and the biggest problem you're going to have is getting people's information. And the best way to get their information is to have a sign just like this. It's super simple, and when they come in the door, you point at the sign and you say, hey, please sign in and take a snack. So the main components is have some type of beverage, some type of snack, and also you're going to want information on the house itself. You're going to want to have your flyer with all the information on the home. You're also, if you can get it, more information like a floor plan, and also you're going to want to have the MLS printout to hand to the people when they come in.
Okay, so the reason that sign is important is because, and it's so easy, I mean, how hard is it to get people's information when they come in, right? Nobody ever wants to sign in. And then you don't have any way to put these people on any type of an email campaign or anything like that. So it's really important. That sign is so critical. And you'll be amazed how people just do what you ask them to do. So when they walk in the door and you have the sign sitting right there with the sign-in sheet, all you do when they walk in is you point at the sign, you say, hey, welcome to my open house, how you doing? Hey, please sign in and take a snack. And then you don't do anything, right? Don't start talking or anything. Don't do anything until they sign that sheet, okay? So here we go. And you'll start getting, you guys are going to get much more information, just that little
Now,
sign.
in addition to the other stuff that you have over there on the table, you're going to have your secret weapon. And this is what you're going to use when the different clients come in and you figure out if they're a buyer or a seller. These things you're not going to sit out on the table. These are things that you're going to put right over here in a little kitchen drawer and hide them. Okay? And you're going to pull them out when you need them. One of the things is going to be your high performance listing system or whatever listing system you use. So if a nosy neighbor comes into the house, you're going to be able to switch to the nosy neighbor mode, and because maybe they're thinking of selling their house. So you're going to want to have your listing presentation handy just in case. You're going to want to have the comps for the neighborhood. Homes that have sold within the last 90 days, okay, that are within the same neighborhood or a 1 mile radius of the neighborhood. Now you're not going to give these to people right away. You're going to have this later on in case you get one of those clients that's a low reactor. You want to have something to talk about. So don't give them all of this at the front, at the very beginning. Okay? You're also going to want to have, in case you have somebody that comes in that is a buyer, you may want to offer them your buying process handbook. Something you can hand to them that gives them the steps of what they have to do when they're buying property in Arizona. Okay guys, sign.
Okay, so, as you know, when people come into your open house, there's going to be two different kinds of people. Listing prospects and buying prospects, okay? So when they come in the door, you're going to introduce yourself to them, be, casual. You're going to point to the sign, have them sign in, right? And then you're going to, typically what I do is I'll just kind of give them a quick rundown of the basic stats of the house. You're going to see that in a second. And then I let them wander, okay? And then I have these other documents that I hold off on so that I have a reason to approach them again, in a casual way. Because the whole thing is breaking the ice. When people come into your open house at first, they have anxiety, right? That, oh my God, this person is going to jump all over me like a used car salesman, right? And then you have anxiety that, oh, this person might have a gun and they might kill me, or, right? Or you might have anxiety that, oh, I'm gonna sound stupid, or, that kind of thing. So everybody has anxiety when they first walk in. So the best way to relieve that is to just, give them direction by saying, hey, sign in, take a snack, here's the information on the house, go wander, right? And then like, okay, that wasn't so bad, right? And then they're wandering around the house, okay? But save that information for so you can approach them again. All right, here we go.
Placement is super important, but something else that I wanted to point out is the brochure box right here.
Get rid of it.
What you have to do when you're getting ready to do an open house is remove all of those brochures, because what's going to happen is people will come up to the house, they're going to take the brochure, and they're going to drive away. Now, this is the little secret weapon that I was telling you about that's a little bit, they don't teach you this in real estate school, but you're going to pull up all the homes that have been on the market for 90 plus days, number one. Homes that are for sale by owners on Zillow, number two. And number three, homes that have sold within the last 5 years. And you're going to put a card on their door inviting them to your open house. So here we go. This house is on Zillow right now as a for sale by owner. So I'm going to invite them to my open house because guess what? They might list with me. Nobody's home, so I'm going to put it right in the gate.
Okay, so these are fake buyers, by the way, just so you guys, so you'll figure that out pretty quick. I had actors. I do want to do one, though, with real people. I think it would be very effective to do it with real people. we just threw this thing together on Monday. So that's why, you know, we kind of threw the fake people in there. The reason I said pull-up homes that have sold in the last 5 years, or 5 years or older, why is that?
The average turnaround time.
Yeah.
Right, is what? About 5 years, that's right. And it's amazing how it works every single time. I got a client right now, I'm gonna list their house up in North Scottsdale, and they've been in it 5 years. And they're getting a transfer, so off they go, you know? And I told them when I sold them the house, I go, guess what? I'll be selling this for you statistically between 5 and 7 years from now. And they go, you're insane, right? Well, not really. It's funny how that all works. HGTV.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. My name's Neil.
Hi, Neil. Shelley.
Shelley,
My
Adam.
son Adam.
Adam, come on in, you guys. Come on in. Watch your step here. There's a little step down.
Now, one thing that you guys noticed, which is in my handout, is the most important thing you can do is lock the door, right? When you're doing an open house, lock the door. People are like, wait a second, that's counterintuitive. When you lock the door, you want everybody to come in. No, you want to be able to meet the person at the door, right? So you want to lock that door that's number one. And number two, it is kind of a security thing too, right? So make sure you got that front door locked. Sometimes it gets too busy and you got a bunch of people coming in, that's a good problem to have. But for the most part, try and keep the front door locked. So you can meet them there, say hi, and you want to size them up a little bit. Yes, sir?
Once they come in, then you leave the door open?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, yes. In fact, make sure, safety-wise, that you always have the back door left open. So you don't have to fumble with it or anything like that. Always have open doors somewhere in that house. This is a 2-story house. When the people want to go look upstairs, you let them go upstairs. Don't you go upstairs. You just let them go upstairs by themselves, and you wait downstairs, okay? Always have a back door open. So in case something weird happens, boom, you can run out, make sure the gate is unlocked. So if you have to go out in the backyard, you can get out the front gate. If somebody gives you the heebie-jeebies, you know, then you just walk out, you just let them go in the house, and then you step out front and pretend like you're talking to somebody like a bodyguard on the cell phone and make sure that they know, oh yes, hi, I'm here doing my open house, oh yeah, I got somebody here right now, you know, that kind of stuff. Because you never know, you know? And just because we're guys doesn't mean that we can't get attacked also. Because a lot of times they will send a woman to lure, you know, as a lure, and you're thinking, oh, you know, blah, 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 and it turns out that there's 2 other guys behind the corner. You know what I mean? So you got to be super careful when it comes to security. I've never had a problem yet, but real estate agents get killed every year doing open houses, right? So you got to be super careful with that. But yeah, that was a good question about leaving the doors.
It's built in 1995. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's got a 2-car garage. There is a community pool and tennis court right across the street. And guess what? You guys are my first people in.
Cool.
Yeah. So come on in. Do me a favor. By the way, there's a brochure.
Oh, thank you.
You want to go ahead and sign in real quick and take a snack?
Okay.
Go ahead, Adam. You can do that.
Who's signing in for? Like something I'm gonna win, or?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to like blast your email
Yeah.
like every other day with information for me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So you see what she asked you guys?
Purposes and stuff like.
She said, why do I have to sign in? And so I said a joke at first, because that's why they don't want to sign in, because they think you're going to, you know, blast them with emails and all this kind of stuff. So that's why I always say to them, I go, sign in, please. They go, well, why do I have to sign in? Because people ask that a lot. I say, oh, so that I can spam you every week with like thousands of things. I go, I'm just kidding, it's for security. And they go, okay. And then the other thing is, people, when they do sign in, they always scribble, so you can't read it, right? So what you have to do, at least most of them do. So what you have to do is you have your sign-in sheet, and then you let them wander, right? And at some point when they come back down again, you say, you know, what is this again? And you write it yourself. You know what I mean? So you ask them what it is. Now sometimes they'll lie a second time, but that's okay. They might not be a good buyer for you, right? Because they're sneaky. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So go ahead and take off and check everything out, and then I'll circle back with you.
Alright, great.
All right.
Out here?
So you see, we just let them go. Don't follow them around.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, you know what the good thing is?
What's
There's a
that?
walking path. I don't know if you noticed it, right next to the house.
Oh, I did not notice.
Yeah, you
Nope.
can take in the grass, and you can take that dog walking for everywhere. So do you
Okay.
guys live in the neighborhood, or you guys
Nope, we're not, nope, we're from Colorado.
from Colorado? Okay.
Away.
Are you guys just kind of looking around? Are you going to be coming down here to rent? Are you looking to buy
I
something?
don't know, we're just looking, getting the feel. Lots of different architecture down here from Colorado.
Oh yeah,
But
a
I'm
huge.
used to the stucco and the tile roof, it's a little odd.
Yeah, it's definitely a culture change for a lot of people.
Yeah, plus the heat, but we love it right now, so, you know, that's probably the main reason we're down here looking. Not in the
Okay.
middle of the summer when it's burning hot, so.
When are you guys planning on coming down?
Oh, I don't know, when we find the right house,
Okay.
so who knows?
So you're coming down, like you come down on the weekends or something like that?
Holidays, we're just wrapping up the holidays, so we're gonna head out here in the next day or two.
Do you have a home you need to sell before you buy?
Yeah, it's already on the market, so we got that handled, we're just waiting for the right house down here.
Well, that's good. The market's pretty good up there in Colorado, I hear.
You do?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh, okay, good, that's good for us then.
Yeah.
We'll have more money to bring down here.
That would be great. Who's your agent? Who are you working with down here right now?
Right now, I don't have anyone I'm working with. We're just kinda outside seeing a sun sign and popped in and that's about it.
Cool. Well, what do you think of the house so far?
Nice.
Okay, so let me just stop this for a second. One of the key questions that you have to ask people, and everybody asks it the wrong way, because people say, so are you working with a real estate agent, right? That's the natural question to ask. And what's the natural response 99% of the time? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I am, right? So when you ask them the way I did it, and you say, so, who are you working with right now? Who's your real estate agent? They can't think quick enough, right? So they go, oh, well, I'm not working with anybody. Oh, okay, great. Or they might say something, they come, oh, my aunt. You know what I mean? But if you guys ask the question that way, right, it's going to increase dramatically your ability to keep moving the ball forward, right? So don't say, are you working with a real estate agent? No, no, no. Circle with a red X through it, or a red line through it. Who is your agent? Who's your real estate agent? Who are you working with? Okay? Now, this client is a low reactor. So when you have a low reactor, somebody who comes in and goes, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no, and they don't give you anything, you're going to want to ask them closed-ended questions. Do you guys know what I mean by a closed-ended question? Where you're kind of directing them, which is what I was doing with her. I was saying, oh, okay, so where do you live? When are you moving down here? When are you doing that? You know, closed-ended where they have to answer. If you get somebody who's really relaxed and is talking to you, then you can ask open-ended questions like, so what do you think about Arizona? Right? And then they'll just go. It's like pulling the string on the doll and they'll just blah, 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 blah. You get those kind of clients too, right? So you have these different clients, you have to ask questions in different ways to keep things going. Closed-ended questions don't work good for somebody who's willing to talk to you and open all that, because it's like you're being pushy, you know? But, and maybe I sounded a little bit pushy here, but you do, you know, your whole objective is to try and find out the story of that person that's walking in the door. And you need to find out really quickly if that's somebody that you're gonna do business with potentially or not. And if you're not, back off. If you think that they're just not gonna do it, then you just back off. Because you're not gonna get most of them, just remember, right? 10 people walk in the door, if you get one, you're doing really great. So you're gonna strike out 9 out of 10 times, right? So just don't get discouraged when you do that. And you'll get better and better at asking questions.
It's just, the upstairs is just a bathroom and 2 bedrooms, so I don't know if that's gonna work.
It'd be nice if there was an extra bathroom up there. I 100% agree with you on that.
It's just a little circle when you get up there, so I don't
Yeah.
know. It's very nice, they did a great job at the house, I'm just not sure.
That's
It's
okay.
a little small.
That's all right. That's what house hunting is all about,
I
right?
know, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, can I answer any other questions on this house? I mean, is there any?
No, not really. I mean, it's just, there's a couple of negatives, there's a lot of positives, there's a couple negatives, so I just don't know if it would work for us.
Yeah. One of the things that is super important for me, and the reason why I like to do these open houses is because I really do want to find what the negatives are.
Yeah.
What are the biggest negatives of this house?
No grass in the backyard,
Okay.
just because we have 2 dogs. And then the upstairs, I would say, is the main negative because it's just 2 bedrooms and a bathroom.
Okay.
Like, I would never have a reason to go up there, and it's like wasted space for me,
Yeah.
except for guest bedrooms.
Okay.
So, it'd be better if it was like all on one floor, but you don't know until you get in the house, so
Right.
we had no idea.
That's true.
That's
Now, is
very
it,
nice.
and is it just gonna be the 2 of you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Are you coming down for a job?
See, at this point, I know I'm not selling them this house. They're not buying this house, right? So if I go on and keep trying to sell that house to them, they're gonna think, this guy doesn't even listen to me, you know? And us men, we have a problem listening anyways, right? We don't listen anyways very well. So it's super important that, and I don't mean to, you know, because you're the
No,
one
that's-
woman here,
that's quite
but
all right.
you probably know what I'm talking about. So, so we have to be good listeners. So when you know that that person is not a buyer, don't keep trying to sell them the house, right? Because they're going to lose interest in you, and they're going to say, well, this person doesn't listen to me. I'd never hire them as a real estate agent, right? And if you have a low reactor like they are, where they're not really, you know, you got to pull the information out of them, one of the best ways to do that, right, is to ask them to give you negative feedback. Because what happens when people come into your open house and you ask them, so what did you think of the house? What do they say? 99% of the time.
Oh, it's nice.
It's nice. Yeah, it's nice. And then they walk out the door and then that's it. They're gone forever, right? So to slow them down, this is another good one, guys, okay? So just like I was telling you, who are you working with? Who's your real estate agent? That's a great question, right? Another great question would be, so what do you think of the house? And they'll say, oh, man, it's nice. We love this place. Well, thank you. That's really great. I'm glad that you like this place. It is a nice house. But what I really need is some negatives. I want to know some negatives so that I can share that with the seller so that they can, you know, so we can make some adjustments if we need to. Then all of a sudden that low reactor person or that person is looking, boy, they just start talking and talking and talking. And then you just never know where that's going to take you to, right? Once somebody starts talking, the more they talk, the more chance you have of turning them into a client. So if you can get them to give you negative feedback on that house, all of a sudden now they're more comfortable because they feel like, wow, I can tell this person how I really feel. I don't have to hold anything back, right? So when they start telling you how they really feel about the house, guess what? They might start telling you some other things too about themselves and about their situation, right? Okay.
Retiring down here.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
You're retiring young.
Go to school.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. Well, I really appreciate that. I think that was fabulous.
I think he's 23 years old.
Yeah.
Since you guys
That's
are
her
now,
son.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's retiring the son.
You know, if
Oh,
you
okay.
see anything that looks interesting, go ahead, I'll follow you. If you see anything that looks interesting when you're out driving around, go ahead and keep my number.
Alright.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my business card.
Okay.
And I also wanna give you, here, this is kinda interesting.
It was supposed to be in the drawer and I didn't set it up right.
Buyer guide. Oh, here it is, over here. It's a buyer guide. I'm gonna give this to you because it will give you all the different steps. I know, it's pretty big.
It's like a book.
Yeah, I know. But it'll give you all of the steps that you need to know when you're buying property in Arizona. It's a lot different than a lot of other states. But it's kind of a step-by-step thing. My information's in there. Teeny houses look interesting. Just give me a call and I can look up the information for you.
Okay, so.
All right? Perfect. All right, what do you guys do the rest of the day?
Same thing we're doing now.
Really? Okay, so you're gonna keep looking.
Keep looking.
All right, well, that sounds good. Well, I appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys take it easy. Have a good day and call me if you need me.
Will do, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, so you can see she was a low reactor. She was acting a little annoyed, right? Maybe I was a little bit too strong with her. Who knows? But I extracted a lot of information from her. And I was able to give her some good information, but not too much information. It would be good for you guys to develop your own buyer handbook and seller handbook that has your branding on it that you can give to people when they come into your open house, okay? So you might want to do that. Now I think, I've got my own stuff, but I'm pretty sure my home group has some things like that. Or link yourself up with either a lender, title company, or both. And they would be more than happy to help you with some of this stuff, okay? The one thing I was gonna say is there's a lot of people that do open houses with other realtors, okay? Don't ever do that, okay? Because it never works out. Because what winds up happening is a buyer comes in, and then you get this big fight over who gets the buyer. One person starts doing all the work, you know, who might have, you know, a better connection with that buyer, and then they gotta split it with the agent and all that kind of, there's no reason to do that ever, okay? Get a lender. If you feel like you wanna have, you know, a wingman or a wingwoman with you on that open house for security reasons or anything like that, get a lender to do it. Or get a title person to do it. Preferably a lender, because they could pretty much qualify the people, you know, on the spot. And a lot of times the lenders are good at talking with people, you know, so they can go in, and if you have a busy open house, that lender can take some of those clients, as long as they're not talking about price, terms, anything like that. They're allowed to be a host or a hostess along with you. And guess what? You can get the lender to pay for your food. You can get the lender to pay for the handouts. You can get the lender to set your signs out for you. All kinds of stuff. Because guess what? You're giving this lender a platform for themselves that they wouldn't have otherwise. Okay?
Good luck. Thanks. Okay, so that client was kind of a low reactor. She wasn't really telling us a lot of stuff. We had to kind of pull it out of her. They liked the house, but they weren't quite ready to commit yet. So I didn't want to go overboard and really jump on them too much, but I did extract a lot of information out of them. Between people coming to show your house and see the house and all that kind of stuff, you're going to want to be doing a lot of computer work. Oh, there's somebody right now. Let's look at the...
You guys like my acting?
Yes, that's good.
All right, so I want you guys to make sure that when you do these open houses, that you are being productive, okay? So don't show up to the open house with a book. Don't turn the sports on the TV. So when the people walk in, you stand up. I see this all the time, where agents are sitting on a couch. When the person walks in, they go, oh, hold on, they put it on mute because they're watching the game, right? If you're a nosy neighbor coming in and you're interviewing real estate agents and you're thinking, wow, there's somebody who works doing their own, and then they walk in the door, what a bummer that is, right? It's like, you'll never get hired, right? And would you, as a buyer, want that person to be helping you? No, you want somebody that's going to be busting their ass to find a house for you, right? Is that person going to be busted? No. So not only do you want to look busy, but you want to be busy at your open house. Bring your laptop with you. Do some prospecting in between people coming in, because time is money for us, right? So I get some of my most productive times are during my open houses, because I feel so great that I'm not only have this platform for me and people walking in, it's just like the lottery, because you never know who's going to come in. It's interesting and it's fun. You meet interesting people, and sometimes you have a crappy open house where nobody comes in, like you had on Black Friday. You know, then you think, oh, okay, that sucked,
Just
right?
one.
Yeah, but most of the time they're good, and you meet nice, good people, but be productive. So make sure that you're bringing, like for instance, if you're doing some prospecting and things like that, or you're trying to figure out what you're going to do for your next marketing gig, you know, do all of that stuff in between phone calls and in between people coming in the door, okay? So, yeah. And then the people will be like, wow, this is a busy person. But don't be too busy, right? When they come in, you want to be able to give them the attention they need without going overboard. I know it's such a fine line, isn't it?
And I always, what's super important is when you're doing an open house, the first thing you want to do is lock the door, because you want to meet the people at the door when they come in. Hi, how are you? Come on in.
I'm
I'm Neil.
loud.
It's really nice to meet you, and you are? Adam, nice to meet you. Okay. Here's the MLS printout. This home has only been on the market one day. Yeah, you guys are the first one. So it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet and change. Built in 1995, and it's great. The taxes are about $2,000 a year. The HOA is $150 a year.
I
But
live in the neighborhood.
oh, you do live in the neighborhood.
I just want to nose around a little bit.
Oh no, I love that. I love neighbors to come in because you know what? You guys know what's going on in the neighborhood.
Yeah, we
Plus,
do.
yeah, plus you can give me some really great feedback, which is exactly what I want.
Yeah, I saw a lot of work going into this place, so we just wanted to check it out.
Yeah, go ahead. I want you to go through and yeah, just kind of wander around. Okay, I gotta tell you guys something. While I'm sitting here doing my work, while they're walking around the house, it's extremely productive time. And these guys are nosy neighbors. Nosy neighbors are an excellent opportunity for listings. And you gotta use a different tactic, which you're gonna see when they come down the stairs. So what do you think?
It's really nice.
Is it like your house?
Exactly the same floor plan, it just has so many more upgrades than ours does. It's really
Yeah.
nice. I like it.
Would you like to move into this house and not upgrade your other house?
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, no, I gotta get enough money for my house first.
Okay.
So, it's
Okay.
going on the market, but, you know, it's like the first house I've seen in the neighborhood.
Sure, and you've only been in your house 5 years. Well, here's the latest comps in the neighborhood. That will show you that we've got this home priced to sell.
So, okay.
Yeah, and you're
So,
still, I'm assuming since you've been in your house 5 years, you're probably gonna make some good money on your house.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice.
If you decide you wanna like kind of do something like maybe get something that's already updated,
Yeah.
it would work out really great because if I was handling the sale of your house, then I think I could maybe talk the seller into doing some kind of a contingency. But I don't wanna get way ahead of myself and out in front of the
Yeah.
skis and freak you out and all that kind of stuff.
That's all good.
But I do
That's
appreciate
nice.
the feedback and just give me a call. If you want me to come by look at your house, I can tell you what I think it might be worth.
Okay, awesome.
Alright?
Well, great, I appreciate you letting us walk through. It's quite a work.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Will you send some of the other neighbors over?
I will, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. Send more of the neighbors over. I need feedback.
Maybe we'll just have a wine party over here one time out in the back, it's so nice.
I would love that. Alright, thanks again, guys.
Yeah, good luck.
Take care, bye. Okay, now I know my video might have been a little cheesy sometimes and a little bit kind of funny, but I did want to keep it entertaining. But I hope that this has helped you kind of get a feel for what you need to do to have an effective open house.
Okay, so the neighbors, when the neighbors come in, you're gonna have a completely different talk track, right? Than when somebody that's a buyer is coming in. So the difference is when the neighbor comes in, you're gonna be talking more along the lines of, you're gonna be thinking in your mind, they may be thinking of selling their house. And that's why they're looking at this house, because they wanna size up the competition, okay? So you have to be subtle. Now I was kind of over the top there. I'm a lot different depending upon who the person is that comes in. So that's why it's super important. This is gonna make you more successful if you can mirror the person. Yes.
And you didn't ask them to sign in?
I know. I was doing the filming and I was running around and going crazy.
You normally would.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
When somebody refuses to sign in, what do you say?
I go, okay, and I just let them go, and then I don't talk to them the rest of the time they're there. I do. I'm not mean to them, but I just go, okay, and I'll just kind of be, a little bit standoffish, not my normal self, and then I just kick them out the door.
I guess you don't wanna work with them anyway.
Right.
They're gonna do it good.
Yeah, I mean, if they're weird like that to begin with. So, so when a neighbor comes in, first of all, when anybody comes in, you're gonna wanna mirror them. So if somebody comes in and they're more quiet, and they're more subdued, and all that kind of stuff, then it's hard for me, but I have to do it. I gotta dial myself back, about 10 degrees. And then I will go, well, hello, 'cause, how are you, and all this kind of stuff, and I'll be a lot more relaxed and a lot more mellow and that kind of thing. When you shake the person's hand, be really careful. Some people have arthritis, right? They do, and you don't think about it. If it's anybody that's 40 years old or over, think about that in the back of your mind before you go up and you do the handshake, because you could really, really hurt somebody who's in a lot of pain. And especially older people, sometimes females, if you're a male and a female comes to the door, they don't like you to grab their hand and shake their hand, right? You might just hand them information at that point and not necessarily shake their hand, because it might creep them out. You know what I mean? So you just got to kind of feel it out, kind of see how it feels when they come in. If they're more of an open person, you know, you could shake their hand or offer to shake their hand. If there's somebody that's not making eye contact and they're being a little bit more sheepish, then you may want to just hand them information, you know? And then when people are like that, if they're more sheepish or they're more of that type of a personality, my voice is calmer, right? And I talk to them in a calmer way. And then please sign in, you know, and blah, 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 blah. So you want to make sure that you're mirroring those people. Try and mirror their personality, okay? So when a nosy neighbor comes in, you're going to be talking about the neighborhood stats, because now all of a sudden you're going to be the neighborhood specialist, right? Now you're going to know a lot about the neighborhood because you were prepared. You went out and you drove the whole area the week before. You know where the schools are. You know where the restaurants are. You know where the dog hospital is. You know, things like that. And, you know, it sounds funny, but Johnny's absolutely right about that kind of stuff, because people go, wow, this guy really does know. He even knows where, you know, I can go and get my dog taken care of, right? So, so then you'll have, you let the neighbor walk through the house, and then you go immediately into the backyard. And this is for anybody. So you give them the information at the door, they start, you have them sign in, and you tell them to wander, you give them the flyer, right? And then you walk out the back, out into the backyard. Because guess what? Where are they going to go when they're done looking at the house? Where are they going to go?
Backyard.
Right. So it's not awkward, because you're not following them around the house. Nobody likes that, right? Every time you go to, have you ever been to a store where you're buying slacks and they're just following you around and they're trying to make suggestions and all that? Nobody likes that. It's annoying. So you let them wander, and then you go out into the backyard, because they're naturally going to go into the backyard. So pretend like you're talking on the phone. You have your cell phone and you're standing out in the backyard, so it's not like you're waiting for them when they come out, right? You'll be on the phone and a fake conversation, and as soon as they start coming out, you go, okay, hold on, let me I'll call you right back. I have somebody and so they can hear you say that, right? You put it in your back pocket, and then you have the MLS printout with you, and then you go, oh, so, you know, then you approach them in the backyard, you give them the MLS printout, and you go, here's some more details. This has the taxes and all that kind of stuff on it. And then you just say, so, you know, what do you think so far of the house? I'd really love some feedback. Now they know that you want to get their business, right? So you have to be sneaky about it. I mean, you got to kind of take their, not sneaky, that's probably not a great word, but you want to lower their guard, right? And the best way to lower their guard and get their story is to be able to break the ice and make them feel comfortable like that. So that's why you go into the backyard, because it's awkward when they come down if you're not in the backyard, because they will naturally go to the backyard. So it's not like you're forcing it. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Does anybody ever do that?
I have,
Will?
Start doing it, yes.
I go to kitchen because invariably they will come to kitchen, and
Yeah,
then I'll start my conversation.
and that's fine too. Kitchen's good too, yes
In
sir.
this way,
I go outside.
if someone is coming into, someone else is coming in, I'm not too far. to
That's
be-
good. Yeah, and go whatever you feel is right, but be somewhere where you know they're gonna go. Okay, I have found the backyard works good for me, but kitchen is also good. Yeah, you don't want to be like back in one of the bedrooms, right? And then they walk in and you start hitting them with stuff, right? Hey, you know, what do you think? You know, then you're like cornered in this little room, right? So you want to be out there where they're comfortable, and that's when you start asking those kind of questions. Give me some negative feedback, you know, because you'll say, so what'd you think of the house? And they'll go, oh, it's nice. And you'll go, okay, and then you're stuck, right? You're screwed, because now you don't know what to say, right? Now it's gonna be really awkward. So that's when you're like, well, why don't you give me some negative feedback? I really need negative. And let me tell you, when you ask people for negative feedback, they start talking. They start talking. And that's good. And when they give you the negative feedback about the house, you don't want to immediately start handling those objections by saying, oh, well, but this, oh, but that, you know. Just listen to it. Go, okay, thank you. That's great, you know. You don't want to like pretend, you know, you don't want to just stop them and say, oh, well, okay, you don't like the color, but we could paint it. You know, because now all of a sudden it's like you're trying to sell the house to them and they're like, wait a second, I don't want to sell. I'm just trying to give you some feedback and I'm going to get my chickens in the oven and I got to leave, right? So you want this connection. That's the whole idea, guys, is making a connection with this person, right? And the house is a vehicle to make the connection. That's what it's all about. That's what it boils down to. All right? So, I want you guys to start throwing some objections at me. I want I want each one of you guys to throw me like a tough objection. You start. So, let's say it's an open house. You want to start? Go ahead.
I'm just looking for a friend.
Okay. So, I come into you and I go, are you looking for a house? And you go, no, I'm looking for a friend.
Yeah, or I have friends visiting or whatever.
Oh, okay. Where's your friend from?
Canada.
Great. Are they transferring down or what are they?
Just visiting here. They like to golf.
Oh, okay. Is your friend
Considering
looking?
moving down here.
Yeah, no. Is your friend looking for a second house?
Probably.
Okay. So they don't. I mean, they're not like relocating from Canada down to America.
No, wintertime home.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Well, there's a lot of Canadians that are doing that right now. Does he come down here a lot, or she?
Like once, twice a year.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Well, listen. If they're paying cash, then it's much easier for a Canadian to purchase a home down here. If they are getting a mortgage, it can be more complicated. So if your friend decides that they're truly interested in buying down here, the very first step is for them, unless they're paying cash, and maybe you don't know that, is to talk to a lender that specializes in foreign nationals. And I do have a few of those. So I'm going to give you my business card and just have your friend call me. Okay? So you see, right there you're not going for the kill, but you're providing them with enough information to where you're giving them something that they didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean it's hard for a Canadian to get a loan down here? It's really hard for a Canadian to get a loan down here. It really is. And it's because they're a foreign national, so that if the home gets foreclosed on, like they stop making their payments, there's no way for them to go after that person because they're in Canada. Yeah. So there's only a certain amount of places that do that. Okay, you throw me one. But I'm putting you guys on the spot. You're supposed to be putting me on the spot, right?
Oh, you know, I've already got a realtor I've been working with. Let's just say they sign in and everything. Well, you know, I'm already working with a realtor.
Well, that's fantastic. You know, I respect that relationship, and I would never want to do that. So I'm sure you're comfortable with that person right now?
I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I totally respect that relationship. But if anything ever changes, or that person gets too busy, I'm always available. Because I work 7 days a week. I really do. I've been working 7 days a week for the last 20 years because I love what I do. But I'm sure you're in good hands with your agent. But like I said, if anything changes, let me know.
And let's just say they're in the open house 15 minutes and just sitting there looking at your stuff. She's still in your open house. And she says, yeah, you know, my mom passed away, left me at home. Yeah, she, you know, then, okay, well, hey, can you tell me, are those granite or are those marble? And they still ask you.
Yeah, no, and you're right, because they said that they're already working with somebody, but they're still asking you questions, which means that they might not be working with somebody, but they're just telling you that. So that's why you don't want to seem like you're a sleazy agent by going, oh, did you sign anything with them? How many times do agents say that, right? Oh, I'm working with somebody. Really, did you sign something with them? You know? that turns people off big time. And by the way, just so you know, this goes against all the rules. I never have anybody sign a buyer broker agreement, ever, with me. And on my listing agreements, I put a blurb on the last page of my listing agreement that said they can cancel anytime.
Even without them asking you, you just said that?
They can cancel anytime. They just have to give me 3 days to remove the signs and all that stuff. Now, I did make a mistake when I first started doing that. And I did have a sleazy client. And now I put in there, you can cancel anytime unless you're under contract and in escrow. Yeah, because I had that happen. They canceled after it was in escrow. Yeah. So, and Neil, were you procuring cause? Yes, I was. Because I was the listing agent, you know. But the fact of the matter was, it was in writing that they could cancel anytime. So they chose to cancel, and I didn't get a commission on that one.
Did you go to arbitration on that?
No. No reason to. I was just really pissed at myself more than anything. It was a good lesson for myself. But yeah, so that's what you do. You don't want to seem like you're predatory. Besides, you never know, maybe they do have an agent. This is why you guys gotta be careful, because a lot of times that agent might be a relative. You know? So like, let's say, you know, somebody says, oh, I've had my house listed for 5 months and my agent's not selling it and all this, then you start kind of tearing into it, and then you find out it's their kid. You know, you just got to be really careful. All right, give me one.
We're just not looking to buy anything right now.
Okay. Do you live in Arizona?
No, we're just visiting for the weekend.
Oh, you are? Okay, you here for some relatives?
No, just for ourselves.
Okay, well that's cool. See how he's a low reactor, so you're going to ask questions like this. So you guys, where are you from? Where are you from out of town from?
We're from Texas.
Texas. Oh, wow. Texas is great, man. You guys don't have any state taxes there.
Yeah.
But your property taxes are kind of high.
True.
Yeah, the property taxes are different in Texas. Are you guys thinking of coming out for business, or you just get a retirement, or what are you thinking doing?
We're just looking at different places for future retirement.
Okay, just kind of putting your toe in the water?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, right now, okay, so right now, you guys, this guy may or may not be ready to go, but I've gotten more business by being honest to people. And so I would say to somebody like this, in this market right now, are you thinking of retiring, what, in the next 5 years?
Yes.
All right, well, wait, don't buy a house right now, okay, because we're at the top of the market, okay, and the market is starting to flatten. And if you're thinking of buying a retirement, in fact, I got a call like this yesterday on the phone, you guys. I had somebody that was thinking of buying a house with their parents, for a retirement house for their parents. They're not going to move into it for 5 years. That's what the number was 5 years. And I said to him, I go, guess what? I go, this is not the best time to buy the house then. You wait at least a year or so, because we're in a slowdown right now. You're going to have more choices, right? And you're going to have better prices. Here's my business card, call me in 2 years.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. Now all of a sudden this person trusts you, and guess what? They're going to refer stuff to you. Because they're going to say, oh my God, I called this agent, and this is what happened yesterday. I told the guy this. The guy turned out to be a loan officer out of LA, and he was going in a house with his parents. And I said, yeah. He goes, how's the market right now? He goes, we're thinking of buying it now for my parents for 5 years from now. And I said, don't do it now. And he's like, there was like silence on the other end of the phone. He was like, you know, and, but by giving people honest advice like that, you're going to make 10 times the money, because they're going to just start referring people to you left and right. And this guy, we started talking. He goes, you know, we do a lot of business out in Arizona, and he actually owns a mortgage company. And the guy's gonna, I guarantee you, that guy's gonna start sending me business. And I'm gonna send him business too. But he's gonna start sending me business, because I was honest with him. You know, he was ready. He saw one of my listings on Zillow that's vacant. And he thought that this might work out for his parents, because the master bedroom is downstairs. It's a 2-story. And so yeah, so that's what you would do with somebody like that. Somebody comes in the door, you get a sense that they might be a client in 36 months. Now, you might be shooting yourself in the foot if they're really going to buy right now, okay? But then you can always back up, because they might say, wow, this person's really honest. but you know what, I think I wanna buy it right now. And then you go, well, that's okay, you can buy it now, just know that you're not gonna be making, you know, double-digit gains each year. You might go up 3%, 5%, kind of in a normal kind of thing, you know, or it might be flat for a while. But all of a sudden now you're the professional. Go ahead, throw me one. You guys running out of a, come on, there's millions of them.
Okay, so, we walked the house, we really like the floor plan, but the bathroom and kitchen are very dated. And so, we were hoping to get into a house that's move-in ready.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the price also, we looked at the price, we looked at some other homes in the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and the price is same as the other homes that have been updated.
Got it.
So,
Yeah, you know, I'll be honest with you, my seller and I have a different opinion of what the value of the house should be, as most sellers do. And you just never know, it's kind of in the eye of the beholder. But obviously, you know, this home isn't move-in ready because you want something newer like that. Have you seen anything like that while you guys have been out looking around?
we have not seen in person, but we have seen on Zillow. And then we also looked at Zestimate, which is the industry standard.
Right.
So it's a true gauge, you know, so, and Zestimate shows that this home is overpriced by $50,000.
Yeah, that's, you know, Zillow can be accurate in certain neighborhoods. In fact, it's extremely accurate in certain neighborhoods, such as, you know, if, like, let's say a neighborhood in Surprise, that was all, you know, all the homes were built within a 5-year period. There's 3 or 4 different models, and they all have similar features and upgrades and things like that. Zillow is extremely accurate there. In a case like this, you know, where we're in McCormick Ranch, where there's some older houses and there's some newer houses, some have been upgraded, some haven't been upgraded. In a case like that, Zillow is kind of inaccurate because they use an algorithm to determine value on a property. And that algorithm is based on square footage, if it's a single or a 2-story, if the house has a pool, its age, its square footage, and how long ago it sold, those types of things. So it can't really take into account upgrades and things like that. It's bigger stuff. So that's why they call it a Zestimate instead of an estimate, because I actually got sued one time by calling them estimates. This is all true stuff, by the way, you guys. So, but in this case, you know, I kind of agree with you. This house does need some updating and all that. Who are you working with?
We're not working with anyone. I mean, do you think if we work with you, the owner will consider the cost of the upgrades and be able to lower the price?
So you like this house, it's just you don't like the upgrades to it right now because you want to get it upgraded. You want to, what now, are you talking about on the kitchen and what else?
The kitchen and bath, the countertops, the appliances.
Okay. So you're not talking pull down walls, you just want the more updated cabinets, countertops, and all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
And you want it done by the time you move in?
That would be ideal, but if the owner is not willing to do that, seller is not willing to do that, we could take on the project ourselves, but then, you know, the price has to be right.
Well, yeah, well, let me do this. Do you have a house you have to sell?
No,
Okay. So do you own a house now or are you renting?
we are renting. We
Okay.
just sold our house and we are renting this, so.
Okay, so that's good. So, so yeah, why don't we do this? Let me talk to the seller, and we'll kind of go from there. Are you paying cash or are you getting a mortgage?
Mortgage.
Okay, have you talked to a lender yet?
Yes, we are pre-qualified.
Okay, good. Well, you sound like you're ready to go.
Yes.
All right, well, let me see what I can do,
Okay.
right? And then you let the person go. You don't want to try and give them a solution right then, but that would be a great one. And that kind of stuff does happen. You made it easy on me. But yeah, you can do different things. You know, there's home improvement loans. There's all kinds of different things. You never know. A seller may pay, especially if they're overpriced, they may be willing to kick some money in to do that. Okay, young lady.
Huh, who, me?
Yes.
Only one.
I know, give me one. You got a good one for me? Come on, be
We're
hard
actually in a
on
little
me.
bit of a hurry.
Be rough
We're
on
just
me.
we're just gonna walk around, we're in a hurry.
Okay, that sounds good. So like you have kids in tow and stuff like that, is that would kind of, give me the scenario.
Oh, shoot, okay. We, have to run a soccer practice, we just wanna go take a lap around.
Okay, well, sounds good. Do you live in the neighborhood?
I do,
Okay, you do. Are you renting or owning?
we're renting right now.
Okay, good. Well, here's the information. Go wander around. Here's my business card, right? And then you let that person wander around, because what do you want to do? We don't want to sell that. We don't have to sell this house, right? And they're a renter. What do we want to do? We want to what? Make a let's see, connection. That's right. We want to make a connection, right? So yeah. So what you want to do in a case like that, when somebody's rushed and they're going through, don't slow them down, right? Let them go through quickly. Just give them a quick rundown. Say, here you go. Boom, boom, boom. Give me a call. And as they're running out the door, try and get them to sign in. If they're really busy, just say, hey, what's your email and stuff? And I'll blah, 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 blah. And usually they'll give it to you. They'll give you your email. They might not give you their cell phone, but they'll give you an email a lot of times. And just let them go. Let them go fast and get out, make a good impression on them, and you never know. You may get them as a buyer. All right, throw me one.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking, but, yeah, I don't have anybody working with right now, but I've got a lady that I live in a little patio home area, and I've got a lady that lives down right a couple of houses down, and
Yeah.
she's a realtor. So if I'm gonna buy something, I need to work with her, so.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you mean your neighbor, your friend is a realtor?
Yeah, and I've known her for like 2 or 3 years.
Oh, yeah. That's a tough one. I understand. If you have a friend or a family member that's a real estate agent and they find out you're looking for a house, that's a rough one.
Yeah, she'd be all over me.
Yeah, she sure would. Well, guess what? Has she been doing real estate for a long time? Do you feel comfortable with her, or do you just feel obligated to use her?
Well, she's been doing it, I think, for a long time. I don't know if she's ever sold anything, but I know she does a lot of stuff.
Well, what about this? If she's not doing a lot of selling, and you need somebody that's been in the business, because I'm telling you something, real estate changes month to month, especially now in this market. You want to put fear, guys, in their heart. You do. You want to put fear in their heart in a nice way. So you're going to say, how about this? You really need somebody because, the market's been changing. It's always changing. You need somebody that's going to get this done. Do you have a house you got to sell to?
No, it's just a
Okay.
patio home we've been renting.
All right. How about this? I pay her a referral fee. And you tell her that the lender you're working with works with me. And so now you're obligated to work with me because of the lender. But by the way, the guy's going to pay you a referral fee because he feels bad. Do it. I do that, you guys. I've done that. So somebody will have, they'll say, well, my sister's an agent. But you got to be on that level where, you can't just jump in and throw that out right away. You got to talk to them and find out how they feel about their sister being their agent. And a lot of times they say, oh, she just got her license and I feel obligated. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. And guess what? You've given them a way to get out of it clean, right? You say, well, it's not going to be your decision. It's going to be the lender's decision who's putting you with me. And guess what? We're going to pay her a little gravy, right? Okay, you guys like that one? I've done that all the time. I do that all the time. Yes, sir.
We just bought a home in the neighborhood and it needs some remodeling, so we wanted to come here for some design ideas.
Oh, fantastic. I love having neighbors come through. So do me a favor and wander through the house, and then when you come back, I'd love some feedback. Okay? That's not a buyer, and that's probably not a seller. That's okay. You just want to cut it quick, right? Make a good impression, because you may get a referral from them. So when they come through, when you're done, you ask them a couple questions. You go, gosh, thank you so much. This is a fantastic neighborhood. You made a great decision. Make them feel good about the decision that they made to buy into that neighborhood. Oh my God, this is one of the up and coming neighborhoods and all this kind of stuff. Here's my business card. I love a referral if you know anybody that needs a real estate agent. Okay, so always look for these angles. Yes, sir, in the back. You got a good one for me? I know everybody's throwing them out. Come on, something that somebody comes in, they stump you in an open house. We've had some good ones here though.
I'm an agent.
You're an agent. Okay, we get that all the time too. Now, by the way, you guys, just so you know, I sell a lot of other agents' homes. You know, they got their real estate license and I sell their home. So, okay, so you're an agent. Okay, great. Are you looking to buy or sell?
I'm not sure, just always kind of looking at stuff and, you know, if I find a good investment property or, you know, I was thinking about doing this Airbnb thing.
Oh, got it. Okay. So do you, are you an investor type agent or do you represent buyers and sellers?
I do a little bit of both.
A little bit of both?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing it for?
Just, you know, in my kind of spare time, past couple of years or whatever, got a couple friends that, you know, like to buy and I own a couple.
Okay, so you're just looking for investment properties.
Yeah, you know, I consider, you know, the kids are growing up. I might want to move if when the timing's right, but
Okay.
not 100% sure. I just
Okay.
like looking at houses.
That sounds good. Well, here's my business card. You know, give me some feedback. You know, you get the feedback and all this. This is not probably a client, but it could be potentially down the road. So you want to make a good impression on them. When you see another real estate agent that comes in, ask them from a professional standpoint what they think of the house and anything that can be updated. Because what you want to find out is if this is one of those agents that does 1 or 2 deals a year, right, for themselves. Okay. Now the way that I get listings from other agents, and this is absolutely the truth, you guys, is that right now the realtors that are selling their own houses, buying and selling their own houses, you guys seen those?
Mm-hmm.
Right? No spuds, no clue. You guys see that in the comments and all that kind of stuff? Those are the people that are all getting sued right now. So they're keeping Dax Watson, who is our counsel for my home group, busy, busy, busy. Okay? I just picked up a listing in North Scottsdale with 2 HomeSmart agents that just got their license. And I said to them, because they were going to sell their own house. They actually had walked into an open house. They were going to sell their own house. And I said to them, well, how long have you guys been in the business? Well, we just got our license. Okay, and we're going to sell our own house because they want to save the commission. That's natural. Everybody wants to do that. And so I said to them, I go, well, I mean, just so you know, just be really super careful when you guys go to sell your own house, because real estate agents are the ones that are all getting sued now, that are selling their own houses. And they go, oh, we didn't know that. Why is that? Well, because you as a real estate agent, you're held to a higher standard than the general public when it comes to selling a house. And when you're selling your own house, there's just so many pitfalls that can go wrong. You know what I mean? So in a case like yours, you're probably not a buyer. I'd give you my card to make a good impression. But if you were selling your own house or potentially being a listing, sorry about that, or potentially being a listing, you can use that tactic. Talk about how real estate agents right now are the ones that are all getting sued, and they are. They say no clue, no spuds. The buyer moves in, all of a sudden there's a roof leak. They want a new roof for $10,000, and they go to that agent who flips houses, who probably didn't make that much on it anyways, and that agent doesn't have the money to fix the roof, and they say, well, screw you. You bought the house. I told you right there in the MLS, no spuds, no clue. Then all of a sudden that person, that buyer, you know, they're buying a $200,000 house. So you think, well, this person, you know, they don't have that much money. They're not going to really go after me that much. Then you find out that their cousin is an attorney in Chicago. This happens. And then the attorney sues the real estate agent saying, well, you didn't do this. You didn't have the higher standard. You should have given the spuds and the clue, because guess what? You own the property. You made changes to the property. You updated the property, and you're trying to tell me you knew nothing about the property and would not fill out a spuds, right? So anyways, those are the people that are getting sued. So I know I've kind of diverged a little bit. Hopefully this is interesting, that it's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions about open houses?
No, but I have another question, very related. So last weekend I was doing open house, and a couple walked in, very nice people, and they said, we just live down the road, and they gave me the name of the community where they live. They said, we are trying to decide whether we upgrade our home or buy a new one.
Yes.
And we want a bigger home. I said, how big is your home? And theirs is about 2,000. The one I was doing open house is over 3,000. They say, well, I asked them, will this work for you? And they said, yeah, absolutely, because we have the family visiting all the time. So anyway, so I qualified.
So you're like SCORE.
Yeah. So, and then they gave me their email. They asked, you know, they kind of, I knew where they were going. I said, would you like the comps? No obligations. And they said, yeah, that'll be great. They didn't write down their address, but through public records, I was able to find it.
Yeah. We're sneaky like that, aren't we?
Hey, it's public record, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Open to everyone.
Sure.
So anyway, in all good intentions, I did send them the comps. I've not heard back. How do I follow up without being too pushy?
I know, that's always the toughest part, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's always the toughest part. Typically, what I will do is, well, this is a little bit different because this is when somebody's like a for sale by owner. I ask for permission and I'll say something like, and you might want to set them up like this. This could probably work with a buyer as well. But you could say, hey, do you mind if I send you updates on this house or updates on homes in the area? Did you do that? Did you say to them, because they were particularly on your particular house, right?
Right.
Yeah, and so now you're kind of dead in the water because they're not calling you back, and it would be awkward if you just called them.
It's been, I'll be honest, it's been barely, 36 hours, maybe 48 hours.
Yeah, so it's been a little bit while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually try and plant a seed for a reason to call them back again. Because I know a lot of times people are reluctant to do that. So I'll come up with a way, like for instance, if it's a for sale by owner, I'll tell them, hey, do you mind if I check back with you once a month to see if you're still on the market or not?
Okay.
You know, now that's a for sale by owner. With somebody like this that comes into your open house and they're super interested in the house, you know, and then they don't call you back in 36 hours, that's kind of a rough one. Did they talk to your lender?
I didn't.
Did you have a lender set up with them?
Not at this open house. Sometimes I do, not at this.
Okay. No, I was just wondering because they were thinking of buying the house. So are they talking to a lender? Did you get that far?
No, but they discussed. They volunteered some information like how much is their home worth and how much they are willing to pay, and it's pretty much all the boxes checked.
Mm-hmm.
Super qualified as far as purchasing this home.
Yeah.
They left their email, they didn't leave their phone number, so I can't call or text them.
Yeah, but the email's not coming back. Undeliverable.
No, it's not coming back. No, I mean, it is true. I think they opened, out of 2 emails, they opened 1, so I know.
Okay, good. So you're seeing that they're opening them.
The first one, right. There was just a, introductory greeting email.
Okay.
So I know the email is genuine, and then the comps email, they have not opened that yet.
Got it.
Or they've not given me any response.
Yeah. I would say you may want to do something like send them an email and say something like, hey, I got something super interesting for you. Please call me as quickly as you can. And just send that, and then come up with something interesting. You know what I mean? Like my guy's going to do a price reduction, or interest rates are getting. I just read this article. Interest rates are getting ready to go up.
Yeah.
You know, just so you can get them to call you back, and then just kind of feel it out at that point. Sometimes just doing something like that, where hey, I got something that just please call me. Something just I got some information you need to know.
Yeah. The
And that
conforming loan limit went up.
Just went up?
That's right. That's right. So it could be something like that, and then you could have a lender in play.
Right.
And then once you have a lender in play, and you got 2 people working them, then you can get them from different angles. So all of a sudden, if they're not calling you back, a lot of times I'll have the lender call them about something, and then they'll talk to the lender, but they might not necessarily talk to you.
Gotcha.
So try that.
Okay.
That might help. Yeah.
Cool.
So.
I know their address, but almost feel tempted to go door knocking, but I'm not.
I know. I would say, you know, we're getting through the holidays and all that, and
Yeah.
school's gonna be out and everything, so there's a lot of people that are waiting to make big decisions for another 60 days.
Exactly,
So it might be, you know, you don't wanna be overly pushy,
exactly.
but I think you're doing the right thing, and I think that's great that you got that through that open house. It sounds like a pretty good opportunity.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyways, hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. Has this been helpful?
Thanks, Neil.
Absolutely.
Has it been helpful?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to.
Okay, on a 1 to 10, what do you give it?
11.
8?
I want to point out one thing.
Yes.
So I think at one of the last meetings, a few months ago, I asked you that when people, they have reservation about signing in.
Yes.
What you do, and you say, here's a snack, take a snack and sign in.
Right.
And I did that, and let me show you something.
Did they scribble?
I don't know, I'll just show you something.
Okay.
It's right here. Please register and take a bar, and so many people did register.
They did, see?
Yeah.
It worked, right?
Yeah.
See, that's perfect. It works, because he was having troubles getting people to sign in, like we all do. And it works, doesn't it?
It absolutely works, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, all right, well, that's it, guys. So, thank you very much for coming. You guys need help, you let me know. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.